In what you record your personal experience, it's called diary. What do you eat when you are sick? Medicine, pill, medication. What do you call a person looking for a job? Job hunter or job seeker? What is the upper part of a leg thigh? Leg, it's called thigh. What do we call the bags that we use? What do we call the bags that contain possessions and people take with them when traveling? It's called luggage or suitcase. Next question is, what do you call the brother of your father or mother, uncle? What do we call a large container used for storing oil, drum, barrel? What do we call the behavior of making birds or animals get together? Herd. What is a text that you send to your friend to invite them to a party? It's called invitation. What do we call the potential benefits of alternatives when a decision is made? Opportunity cost. What shows how many people can be in a place like an apartment? It's called capacity. Our next question is, what shows what is the upper part that protects a building? It's called roof. Who is the main journalist responsible for producing a newspaper or magazine? Editor. What is a name for a person who pays rent to a landlord? It's called tenant. What is the summary for an academic paper showing what the essay is talking about? Abstract. What do we call the different forms of money that a country uses? It's called currency. What do we call a person who writes biographies? It's called biographer. What do we call someone who travels and works in a spacecraft? Astronaut. What is not a font style, bold, regular, superscript, or italic? Superscript. Which word do we use to describe a desert? Humid or dry? It's dry. What do we call the value that a particular coin or bill has? Denomination. Mean in words like retrospect, back, backwards. What do we call a light that has usually a glass covering and can be carried by a handle? Lantern or lanterns. What is the plant that grows in the desert and has sharp points? Cactus. What do we call a company or organization that gives money to a sports or arts event in exchange for advertising? Sponsor. What do we call the study of living things? Biology. What are winter, spring, summer, and autumn? Seasons. What is a collective term for cows and bulls, especially on a farm? Cattle. If something is not expensive, what do we say it? Cheap. What do people wear if they can't see very well? Glasses, contact lenses. If something such as fabric or medicine is artificially made, not natural, what do we say it? Synthetic, artificial, man made. What type of food is an apple? Fruit. When ice is at room temperature, what does it become? Water or liquid? Which sweet food is produced by bees? Honey. What is a word for the place where a river starts? Source. What kind of food do almonds, pistachios, and walnuts fall into? Nut. What do we call the marine animal that has 8 legs? Octopus. What do we call a document sent by email? Attachment. What part of the body propels a flying bird in the air? It's called wing. What do we call a group of sheep or birds? Flock. What do we call a political institution or body that is responsible for a country? It's called government. What part of a room is over your head? Ceiling. If a figure is hexagonal, how many sides does it have? 6. What do people cast in an election? Vote. What is the name of a ceremony in which two people get married? Wedding. Which one word is used for a brother or sister? Sibling. What is the word in geometry for a shape that has 3 sides? Triangle. How many sides are there in a bilateral agreement? 2. What is the word for a period of 100 years? It's called century. In which direction does the sun come up? East. How many days are in a week? 7 days. What is the meeting point of sea and sky called? The horizon. What do we call the animals with white ivory and long trunk? Elephants. Elephant. How do you call the seasonal flying from cold to warmer areas? Mitigation or migration? It's called migration. What kind of dictionary provides synonyms, antonyms, and related words? Thesaurus. A dozen is a grouping of which number? 12. If a couple have a pair of children, how many children do they have? 2. Why plants need bees? Pollination or for pollinating. What does the sun do during dawn? Sunrise. What category do the bee, the butterfly, and the mosquito fall into? Insects. Which part of your leg can make it possible to bend? Knee. In the word postgraduate, what does the post mean? After. What do we call the sport of riding on waves while standing on a narrow boat? Surfing. What do we call the lizard that can change its color according to the surroundings? You can guess the name of that lizard. What is the opposite of simplify? Complicate. What is the layer of tissue that cover our body? Skin. What do we call a person that has won the first prize in a competition? Champion, winner, gold medalist. What is the thick forest in tropical parts of the world that have a lot of rain? It's called rainforest. Who is trained to treat people who are ill in a hospital? Doctors. What do we call the container that is used for heating or boiling water? Kettle. Which type of meal is usually eaten outdoors? Picnic for or buffets? Picnic. What do we call the restaurants that serve buffets? Cafeteria or cafeterias. What is the opposite of compulsory subjects? Optional. What do we call the subjects that are taught in a school or college? Curriculum, curricula, or curriculums. What do we call one of the parts of a school year? Terms. What do we call a structure made for bees to live in? Hive or beehive. Which one is the unit of a capacity? Centimeter or liter? Liter. What do we call the series of pages showing the days, weeks, and months of a particular year? It's called calendar. Who offers the highest prize in a public event? What we call it? It's called auction. What do we call an area in the desert where is water and where plants grow? Oasis. What do we call joint that connects the top and bottom parts of the leg? Knee. What do we call programs that run on a computer? Software. What is the hard substance that makes up the stems and branches of trees and shrubs? It's called wood. What do we what do we call the fabric that covers the floor of an apartment? Carpet or carpets? What do we call the room that has below the level of the ground? Basement, basements. How do we describe a computer that is connected to the internet? Online. What is the opposite of online? Offline. What do we call a person who studies mystery? We call the person mystic. What do we call the event in which people move through a public place to celebrate an important day or event? Parade. What do we call the animal that looks like a horse but with black and white strips? Zebra. How do we call the animals that are kept on farms or as pets, domestic? What is the process of water changing into a gas? Evaporation. Which kind of energy makes light bulbs work? Electricity. What is the antonym of innocent? Guilty. How do we describe a person who is not guilty for a crime? Innocent. What do we call the two metal bars that trains run on? Rail track. What do we use to rest our heads on the bed? Pillow. What is the small stick made of wood or cardboard that is used for lighting a fire? Match. What is the small shiny white ball that forms inside the shell of oyster? Pearl. What do we call the female head of a family? Mistress. What is the top surface inside the room? Ceiling.